मेरी तरह तुम भी कभी प्यार करके देखो ना। मेरी तरह तुम भी कभी प्यार करके देखो ना। चाहत का मुझसे सनम इकरार करके देखो ना। कितना मजा है, कैसा नशा है, कितना मजा है, कैसा नशा है, प्यार करके देखो ना।
मेरी तरह तुम भी कभी प्यार करके देखो ना।
प्यार दिल का सपना है, प्यार तुझसे करना है। प्यार के रंगों से आज अपने दिल को रंगना है।
आज तक जो कहना था आज तुझसे कहना है। दिल में अब छुपा ले तू, दिल में तेरे रहना है।
दिल ने कहा है, दिल ने सुना है, दिल ने कहा है, दिल ने सुना है, प्यार करके देखो ना।
मेरी तरह तुम भी कभी प्यार करके देखो ना। चाहत का मुझसे सनम इकरार करके देखो ना। इस तरह से देखो तुम सादगी बिखर जाए। आज मेरी आंखों से बेखुदी बिखर जाए।
चांद जैसे मुखड़े पर चांदनी बिखर जाए। जिंदगी के चेहरे पर आशिकी बिखर जाए।
तुमको पता है कितनी वफा है, तुमको पता है कितनी वफा है, प्यार करके देखो ना।
मेरी तरह तुम भी कभी प्यार करके देखो ना।
चाहत का मुझसे सनम इकरार करके देखो ना।
कितना मजा है, कैसा नशा है, कितना मजा है, कैसा नशा है, प्यार करके देखो ना।
मैं टूट के सनम ऐसे ही तुझे चाहूंगी।
वाला। एक दिल है, एक दिल है, एक दिल ही तो है। मेरा दिल है, मेरा दिल है, मेरा दिल ही तो है।
सबको मैं आज दिल भर छोड़ के आई, रस्मों के कसमों के सारे बंधन तोड़ के आई।
देखो मैं तो देखो सोने यार को जब पल के उठाऊं, जिंदगी बना के मेरी जान को मैं सांसों में बसाऊं।
तेरे इश्क में डूबने वाला, तुझे दिल है, एक दिल है, एक दिल ही तो है। मेरा दिल है, मेरा दिल है, मेरा दिल ही तो है।
आजा तेरी सुनी सुनी मांग को मैं तारों से भर दूं, सजनी दीवानी सारी उम्र अब मैं तेरे नाम कर दूं।
सारी दुनिया को मैं तो भूल बैठी बाहों में आके, ऐसा लगा सब कुछ पा लिया है तेरा प्यार पाके।
तेरे ख्वाब सजाने वाला, तेरी दुनिया बसाने वाला। एक दिल है, एक दिल है, एक दिल ही तो है। मेरा दिल है, मेरा दिल है, हाँ दिल ही तो है।
तुझे प्यार से देखने वाला,
तुझे अपना समझने वाला।
एक दिल है,
एक दिल है,
एक दिल ही तो है।
मेरा दिल है,
मेरा दिल है,
हाँ दिल ही तो है। एक दिल है, मेरा दिल है, हाँ दिल ही तो है। ना एक दिन छोड़ के मुझको जाएगा, लो गया दिल, दिल परदेसी हो गया, दिल, दिल परदेसी हो गया। हमने देखे प्यार के सपने, हम दोनों हैं दुश्मन अपने, हम दोनों को नींद न आई, सारा जग सो गया, दिल, दिल परदेसी हो गया, दिल, दिल परदेसी हो गया। किसी रोज तुमसे मुलाकात होगी, किसी रोज तुमसे मुलाकात होगी। मेरी जान उस दिन मेरे साथ होगी, मगर कब न जाने ये बरसात होगी। मेरा दिल है प्यासा, मेरा दिल अकेला, जरा तस्वीर से तू निकल के सामने आ मेरी महबूबा। मेरी तकदीर है तू मचल के सामने आ मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा। जरा तस्वीर से तू निकल के सामने आ मेरी महबूबा। Obla di di di, obla da da da, obla do do do, what to do?
Obla di dang di dang di dang, obla da dang da dang da dang, obla do dang do dang do dang. We love you.
नहीं याद कब से मगर मैं हूँ जब से, मेरे दिल में तेरी मोहब्बत है तब से। मैं शायर हूँ तेरा, तू मेरी गजल है, बड़ी बेकरारी मुझे आजकल है, बड़ी बेकरारी मुझे आजकल है, मुझे आजकल है। जरा तस्वीर से तू निकल के सामने आ मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा। जरा तस्वीर से तू निकल के सामने आ मेरी महबूबा।
Corre, mustaqueto, como te pasa, remucarreto, lazarre, becate, go, ya ne kaha se lo a gई है वो।
Obla di di di, obla da da da, obla do do
इसी रोज अपनी मुलाकात होगी, मेरी जान उस दिन मेरे साथ होगी, मगर कब न जाने ये बरसात होगी। मेरा दिल है प्यासा, मेरा दिल अकेला, जरा तस्वीर से तू निकल के सामने आ, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा, मेरी महबूबा। अपनों की महफिल में बेगाने हम, सबकी असलियत को पहचाने हम। ओ अपनों की महफिल में बेगाने हम, सबकी असलियत को पहचाने हम। पत्थर की मूरत से टकरा गए, अच्छा हुआ होश में आ गए। औकात किसी की क्या हम सबको बताएंगे, अब ना शर्माएंगे। हाँ तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे।
क्या रात आई है, मोहब्बत रंग लाई है, हम जश्न मनाएंगे, सागर छलकाएंगे, ना होश में आएंगे।
तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे। तूने तड़पाया है, तुझको तड़पाएंगे, तुझको तड़पाएंगे। तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे इश्क में नाचेंगे।
इश्क में नाचेंगे, तेरे 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 इश्क में नाचेंगे।
I've been a long-haul trucker for over 15 years. I've driven through blizzards in Utah, tornado alleys in Kansas, and stretches of desert where the radio dies for hours. But nothing ever rattled me like what happened one night outside New Mexico. It started at a rundown gas station that shouldn't have even been open, and ended with me realizing something followed me home. This isn't a story about ghosts or glitches. This is what happens when the road opens up to something else. I don't tell this story often. Most folks wouldn't believe me if I did, and honestly, I don't blame them. Even now, after all these years, I sometimes wonder if I imagined it. But I didn't. I know I did. I didn't single quotes. It happened back in 2016. I was 39 then, driving solo for a mid-sized logistics company out of Oregon. Nothing fancy, just long hauls and honest pay. I'd been on the road close to a decade by that point, enough time to see some weird stuff now and then, especially in the quieter parts of the country. But what happened that night wasn't just weird, it was wrong. The kind of wrong that doesn't settle, the kind you carry with you. I'd just finished a drop in northern Arizona, small town near Winslow, and I was headed east through New Mexico toward Tucumcari. Long stretch, mostly quiet highways. I remember it was late September, just starting to cool down at night. I had about 200 miles to cover before sunrise, so I wasn't in any rush. Just cruising steady through the dark, windshield buzzing faint. From a light wind, cab humming easy dot around midnight, I decided to pull off and fuel up. I still had about a third of a tank, but I like to top off before it dips too low, especially out in the middle of nowhere. You never know when the next station's going to be 70 miles out, or closed, or just plain gone. Trucker paranoia. I guess that's when I saw the sign. Juno Gas, -2 miles ahead, big faded green board with peeling paint. No lights around it, just a reflector tag on the top, so you could barely make it out if your brights hit it right. It wasn't a chain I recognized, but that's not unusual. These little stations pop up all the time in the Southwest family-run or off-the-book setups. Cash preferred, sometimes no pumps, just tanks and a bell on the door. Still, I figured. Gas was gas. The turn-off came quick. Sharp little road marked Old Route 57. My GPS didn't list anything out there, but again, not a huge deal. That stretch of land is full of roads that used to be something before the interstates swallowed them whole. I took the exit slow. As soon as I turned off the main road, the night felt heavier, like the air had thickened just a little. No big red flags, just a slight shift, like I'd driven into a different kind of silence. The kind where sound doesn't echo. About a mile in, the station came into view. One island with 2 rusted pumps, a squat little building with flickering yellow lights inside. A crooked neon sign buzzing open, half lit, like someone had smacked it years ago and it never recovered. There was a car parked off to the side, an old tan Ford Crown Vic. No license plate, just sitting there, covered in dust. Looked like it hadn't moved in weeks. I remember laughing to myself, saying, well, this place looks friendly. I rolled in, eased up to the first pump, and shut the engine off. The tank hisses echoed in the empty lot as I climbed down. Gravel crunched under my boots, dry and loud. That's when I noticed the window, the one behind the counter. There was someone standing there, still as a statue, no movement, no nod, just ... Staring at me, he was standing behind the glass, still as a photograph, didn't wave, didn't nod, just watched, middle dash, aged, maybe. Hard to tell in that dim light. The flickering overhead fluorescents inside the station weren't doing much besides casting long, jagged shadows across the walls. The guy had one hand resting on the counter, the other somewhere out of sight. He wore a pale blue button-up and what looked like a faded green vest, standard, small-town attendant kind of look. But his posture felt off, like he wasn't standing to do a job, like he was waiting. I gave a short wave and headed around the back of the cab to check my trailer, seals and stretch my legs. No matter how tired I get, I always walk a full circle before every break. It's just habit. You drive enough hours alone, and that kind of routine becomes your lifeline. As I circled back toward the pump, I caught another glance toward the window. He was still there, same position, still watching. And that's when I noticed it. He wasn't blinking. Not once. I stared back, for a few seconds, thinking maybe it was just one of those weird optical illusions where light and distance mess with your sense of motion, but no, he didn't move. Not a twitch. Just 2 eyes locked straight on me. My stomach gave a small turn. I told myself maybe he was spaced out, half asleep on a night shift, or maybe he had something on his mind. Who knows? People can be strange, especially when you're stuck in the middle of nowhere at midnight. I turned away and tapped my card into the pump. It didn't work. Tried. Again, nothing. I muttered and looked toward the building. A small paper sign taped to the pump read, "Pay inside. No card reader. Cash preferred." Typical. I locked up, grabbed my wallet from the cab, and walked toward the door. As I stepped up, the bell above it gave a sharp, metallic clink. Not a ring, more like it hadn't been used in a while. Inside, it smelled like dust and something stale, like old wood left out in the rain. The air was cold, too colder than outside, colder than it should have been. I figured they must have left the AC blasting to keep the flies away. The guy behind the counter didn't move. I cleared my throat. Evening, just need a full tank. Pump 1, nothing. I walked up closer. He was staring at the register, motionless. Hands flat on the counter now, like someone had just paused him mid-motion. I was about to repeat myself, maybe louder, when he finally moved, but not the way I expected. His head tilted to the left, slow, mechanical, almost like he was listening to something behind the wall. Then his eyes slid back up to mine. He blinked once, then said, "Real flat, you sure?" The words hung in the air. Yeah, pump one," I replied, blinking in confusion. He stared a second longer, then slowly turned to the register and tapped something in. I watched his fingers. They moved, stiff, hesitant, like he wasn't used to doing it, like muscle memory was guiding him, not actual familiarity. He grabbed a crumpled receipt roll and scrawled something on the back, handed it to me. "Take this to the pump." I took it. No total, no amount, just a shaky scribble that looked like a number 7, or maybe the letter Z. I couldn't really tell. "Okay, thanks," I said, backing away. He didn't reply, just turned his head to face the glass again, staring out the window like he was waiting for something to come through it. Back outside, the air felt even colder than before. I looked around. No other cars. No sign of anyone else. No sign of anyone else. No lights on in the houses down the road. No passing semis. Not even crickets. It was that kind of unnatural silence you get before a major thunderstorm. But the sky was clear. I walked back to the pump and slid the paper into the slot on the side like it said. It clicked in with a soft thunk and the nozzle unlocked. I started fueling. A minute passed. Maybe 2. That's when I heard the thump. Not loud, just a dull thump from behind the building, like someone dropped something heavy onto the dirt. I froze, hand still on the handle. Looked over my shoulder. Nothing there. Just desert and brush and blackness. I tried to ignore it. Probably a stray dog. Or a tumbleweed. Maybe something fell off the roof. I've been around enough weird night sounds to not let them get under my skin too quick. Then I heard it again. Thump. And then softer dash scrape, like something was dragging. And this time it wasn't behind the building. It was behind my truck. I let go of the pump, heart thudding a little now. Walked slowly toward the rear of the trailer. There was nothing there. No tracks, no animal, no person, but the air smelled different, like burnt plastic. The kind you smell after an electrical short. Sharp, synthetic, sour dot. I checked the trailer seals again. Still locked. Walked back to the cab and reached for the door. Handle and froze the man from inside. He was no longer at the window. I looked back toward the building. The lights were still on, the signs still flickering, but the inside was empty. No attendant, no movement, no shadow behind the counter. I stood there for a good 30 seconds, just staring. Something was off, not just creepy off, like something had been swapped out and no one told me. I walked back toward the building slowly. I didn't want to. Every part of me was saying, just get in the truck and go. But curiosity got the better of me. Or maybe it was concern. What if he'd had a stroke or something? As I pushed the door open again, that metallic clink rang out. Sharper this time, but the place was silent. The register was still there. The little heater under the counter was still humming, but the guy was gone. I looked behind the counter. Nothing. No back door, no hallway, just a blank wall and a shelf with old cigarette cartons and dust-covered cleaning supplies. I called out, "Hello." No answer. I walked around the side aisle, checked the little bathroom door, locked, knocked once. "You all right in there?" Silence. Then the register beeped. I turned. The screen flashed bright green dot, then off, then back on. One line appeared. 2. Late, I backed out of the store slowly. Didn't even shut the door. The air outside felt worse now. Like static. My arms were prickling with goosebumps. And I wasn't even cold. I jumped into the cab, heart racing, and cranked the engine. The tank was only 3/4 full. I didn't care. I just needed to leave. I pulled out of the lot without a word, tires crunching over dry gravel. The lights from the gas station flickered behind me in the mirrors. And then right as I hit the road again, I looked back just for a second. The lights inside the building, they were all off, completely black, as if the place had never been open. At all. I didn't get far, 5, maybe 6 miles from that station, before something started to feel wrong again. It was in the mirrors. Not a shape, not a light. Not at first, just a glint, faint, barely visible. But it was there, hovering in the corner of my driver's side mirror, like it didn't want to be seen, like it wasn't meant to be. At first I chalked it up to dust on the glass, or maybe something inside the cab catching the reflection. I adjusted the mirror, wiped it down with the edge of my shirt. It vanished. I let out a breath and kept driving. But then, about half a mile later, it was back, same faint, shimmer, small, steady, like the reflection of something behind me that didn't cast any actual light. No vehicle followed, no headlights, just that glint, hovering in the dark like a distant eye that never blinked. I stared at it too long, long enough to drift into the shoulder and kick up dust before correcting. My heart gave a quick jolt. I turned the music up, put on a station just to fill the silence. Static, tried another dot. Static, every channel, just snow. Then, as if it had been waiting to catch me off guard, a whisper cut through on one of the AM bands. It wasn't music, not even words at first, just breathing. A slow, scratchy inhale, then a long, wet exhale, like someone right against the mic, waiting dot, and then one word, closer. I yanked the volume knob down so fast my hand slipped. A cold sweat had broken across my forehead. My shirt clung to my back. My jaw clenched tight as I stared out into the night, forcing my eyes forward. Still, that flicker remained in the mirror, unchanging, like it was glued there. I tried the CB. Again, flicked through a few channels. Nothing, then one caught. A male voice, rough, panicked. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't. Then dead static. Then silence. Then clear as day. Still behind you, I slammed the CB off. That time, I unplugged it completely. Let it fall to the floor. By 1:45 a.m., I made it back to the interstate, clean, empty lanes. Moonlight turning the pavement bone white. It should have felt comforting, but I felt none of it. My chest was tight, like someone had wrapped cold wires around my ribs and pulled tight. Every time I exhaled, and I swear to you, there was something in the truck with me. I couldn't see it, couldn't smell it, but I felt it, just out of sight, sitting quietly, in the dark edges of the cab, not moving, just present. I'd been tired before, sleep deprived, sure, but this was different. I kept glancing toward the passenger seat, expecting movement, seeing none, but feeling it. Like that seat wasn't empty anymore. I needed a break, not a long one, just enough to breathe. A rest stop showed up a few miles down, more of a gravel pull-off than anything official. It looked abandoned. No lighting, just a beat-up picnic bench and a rotting wooden sign with rest area 1/2 mile, barely visible in faded white letters. Still, I took the exit, pulled in slow. There was another vehicle there, a rusting class CRV, sun-bleached and half-sunk. Into the dirt, curtains drawn. No plate. No movement, just ... there. Like it had been sitting for years. I pulled a bit farther down. Killed the headlights, but kept the engine idling. Opened the door to stretch. The second my boots hit the gravel, the silence hit me like a brick. It wasn't normal quiet. No insects. No highway rumble. Not even a breeze. It was like the world had turned off. I stretched my arms overhead, trying to ignore the goosebumps crawling down both forearms. Then, as I circled to check the rear trailer doors, habit burned into my. Stopped cold. 3 long smears were etched into the dirt on the back panel. I blinked. They weren't there before. Not at the station. Not when I refueled. 3 thick, uneven finger tracks. As if someone had reached out with damp, dirty hands and dragged them down the metal. My breath caught in my throat. I turned immediately, no hesitation, and scanned the empty lot. Nothing but the RV. But that's when I saw it. Something inside had moved. Just a flicker, a curtain parting ever so slightly. I froze, my eyes locked with the black behind that window. Nothing stared back, but the air thickened. My vision narrowed. I climbed back into the cab, locked both doors with shaking fingers, and didn't waste a second shifting into gear as I pulled out. Tires biting into gravel. I looked once into the mirror, and that flicker, it was back, except now. It wasn't behind me. It was on top of the RV. The next hour is a blur. I drove, didn't breathe right, didn't blink enough. I white-knuckled the wheel like I could will the miles to pass faster. Asterisk, by the time I reached the edge of Tucumcari, dawn had just begun bleeding over the desert horizon. Pale orange, soft and empty. It felt like stepping out of a nightmare, but the feeling didn't go away. I pulled into a Love's travel stop, engine humming, headlights off now, parked in the far corner and killed the ignition. I sat in silence. The cab was too quiet, too still. And then I noticed it. A piece of paper, sitting neatly folded on the passenger seat. I didn't remember it being there before. I hadn't seen it when I got in. Hands trembling, I picked it up, unfolded it. 2 words, scrawled in tight. Frantic letters. He's listening. Something cracked. In my chest, I got out of the truck and threw up on the pavement. Just bile. My stomach had turned to knots. My skin felt cold, damp, electric. I booked a cheap motel 3 blocks away. Didn't even tell dispatch. Said I was sick. Left the truck where it was. The whole walk to the motel, I kept feeling like someone was mirroring me 1 step behind. Not following. Mimicking dot, like if I stopped walking. Whatever was behind me would stop too. But I never tested it. I didn't want to know what I'd see if I turned around. Not then, not yet. I didn't sleep, even with the motel door locked. Even with the curtains drawn and the bedside lamp left on, I couldn't close my eyes. Every time I tried, I'd feel that presence just outside the room, just on the other side of the wall, watching, listening, breathing, through silence, the kind of sensation that goes deeper than fear. It sits in your bones. By morning, I was pale and dehydrated, nerves pulled tight like piano wire. I hadn't checked on my truck once since parking it. I couldn't, I wouldn't. But eventually, I knew I had to face it. I had a run to complete, and no way to explain not showing up. The longer I stayed holed up, the worse the paranoia got. So around 10:30 a.m., I walked back toward the truck, sun beating down on an empty parking lot that somehow still felt cold. The kind of dry heat that bakes the ground but doesn't warm the skin. And when I saw the rig, I stopped cold. There was something on the windshield, a handprint, a large one, smack in the center. 5 long, dirty streaks trailing down the glass. Like it had pressed hard, leaned forward, and just looked in. But the lot had been empty all night. I was parked far from the other trucks, by design, and the dust pattern around the cab. Untouched, no tracks, no footprints, no smears on the door, just the handprint, like it had appeared from inside the air. I unlocked the cab slowly, knife clipped to my belt, hand already sweating on the handle. I yanked the door open and stood back empty. Of course it was, but it didn't feel empty. The smell hit me first, that same burnt plastic scent, only sharper now, like something had singed the upholstery. And beneath it, a new smell, mildew and something almost sweet, like rotting fruit. I climbed in, engine still off, cab baking in the sun, and there, on the dashboard, was another note taped perfectly, scented as if someone had taken the time to measure it out. Same paper as before, same handwriting. Don't turn around. I sat completely still, didn't move, didn't breathe, because now I realized the note wasn't a warning, it was a command. It meant it was already in the cab, with me. I swallowed hard, my throat dry and scratchy, and then click, the passenger side door handle moved just once. A slow lift, then drop. No force, no pressure. I turned my head slowly as I could, like any faster might trigger something. The window beside the passenger seat had fogged over, but not from the inside, from the outside, like something with body heat had leaned against it. I reached toward the key, jammed it in, cranked the engine. The dash lights flickered. For half a second, every warning light on the panel lit up at once. Oil, brakes, abs, fuel, even seatbelt, all blinking like a Christmas tree before vanishing one by one. The truck started, but the radio came on by itself, full volume, hissing, static, then layered over the noise. Behind, I slammed the volume knob off. My ears were ringing. I put the truck in gear and peeled out of the lot. Engine groaning, tires squealing slightly on hot pavement. I didn't look in the mirrors. I didn't check the seat. I just drove. The highway felt alien now. Bright sky, clear lines, other cars moving in the distance, but none of it felt real anymore. I passed towns without names, exits I didn't recognize, and each one made my stomach drop. The GPS stopped tracking entirely, frozen. The arrow blinked red with a route unknown message I'd never seen before. The road kept going, though, so I stayed on it. But the landscape started to look unfamiliar, too flat, too quiet. I passed the same bent road sign 3 times. Mile 83, once, is a coincidence. Twice is confusion. 3 times. That's something else. At around 2:15 p.m., something changed. The road dipped into a low valley, and I saw a building up ahead. Familiar shape to pumps. Flickering sign. I nearly slammed on the brakes. It was the gas station, the same one from last. Night dot, except it was broad daylight, and the station looked new, not fresh paint, not renovated, like it had never been abandoned. The lot was clean, the pumps gleamed, the windows were clear, and inside, the man was standing at the register. Same pale blue shirts, Same green vest, same dead stare, waiting. I couldn't stop. My body was frozen, foot pressed to the pedal like something else was guiding it. I drove past, slowed down just enough to see him follow me with his eyes, not his head, just his eyes. Then a shadow moved behind him, not a person, something taller, thinner, wrong. I blinkered the station. Was gone, not faded, not distanced, just gone. Like a mirage wiped off glass, the highway stretched empty again. I pulled over, chest heaving, air shallow. I climbed out of the cab and dry heaved into the gravel shoulder. Then I heard it tap, tap, tapped from behind me. I turned, slow, like every nerve was screaming not to. There, in the middle of the road, stood the attendant, but his arms were too long, his legs too thin, his mouth was stretched far wider than a human jaw should allow, and he was grinning, not smiling, grinning, that kind of two-eyed, hungry, broken expression that doesn't belong on a living face. His head tilted sideways. Bone cracked slow. Then he took one step, not toward me, toward the truck. I ran. I don't remember the next part. Clearly, just noise. Metal groaning, the truck shaking, something pounding on the side of the cab, from the inside, like something had gotten in when I wasn't looking. When I finally snapped out of it, I was halfway down an unknown exit, the truck swaying, mirrors cracked, GPS screen shattered like it had been punched from the inside. I pulled into a field, killed the engine, and sat, breathing, sweating, waiting. The sun was setting, and I knew, in my gut, that if I didn't leave the truck before nightfall, I wouldn't leave it at all. The first thing I noticed when I woke up, if you could even call it sleep, was that the world felt too normal. The birds were chirping outside the grimy motel window. The curtains glowed with morning light. The hum of passing traffic came and went like waves. And for a second, I thought maybe it was over. Just a bad night. Just a trick of exhaustion. But that feeling only lasted a few seconds, because deep down, in my gut, I knew the truth. Whatever I'd brushed up against, whatever had followed me out of that gas station, it wasn't gone. It had just gone quiet. And quiet doesn't mean safe. It means waiting. I forced myself to get out of bed. Everything in me wanted to stay under the covers, to leave that truck parked out there until someone else came and hauled it away. Maybe just walk away from it all, no explanation, no goodbye. But I knew that wasn't going to happen. Not because I was brave, because I had no choice. This life, this road, it doesn't let you run forever. If you stop, the weight of it all finds you anyway. And sometimes, the only way to beat something like that is to get back behind the wheel and pretend it didn't nearly break you. So that's what I did. Got dressed, put my boots on, splashed cold water on my face until I didn't look like death. And then I walked back to the truck. It was still there, exactly where I'd left it, parked neatly on the edge of that gravel turnout. But it didn't feel like mine anymore. It looked the same, but the air around it was heavier, like stepping too close to a power line that's humming, just low enough to rattle your bones. I approached slowly, keys in hand, eyes locked on the cab. No broken windows, no obvious signs anything had happened, but still. I hesitated at the door. The mirror reflected just enough glare that I couldn't see inside, and that made me feel sick. I opened the door in one fast motion, hoping to see nothing, and technically, I did see nothing. No figure, no shadow, no pale gas station attendant with hollow eyes. But there was something, a smell, a memory, a vibration in the floor, the absence of noise, and one more thing, lying on the dashboard, perfectly centered, was a single item, a green name tag, same one I'd seen on his vest, same blocky white letters, no pin, no magnet, no explanation, just the tag, as if placed there gently, deliberately, by something that didn't need to use hands. I didn't touch it, didn't move it. I started the engine without looking around, keeping my eyes dead ahead. The CB radio lit up for a split second, crackled, then went silent. I finished that delivery, didn't sleep until it was over, didn't even pull off to rest. I drove straight through, clenched jaw, dry throat, and one hand on the knife I kept taped under the seat. And when I finally reached the drop yard, I backed the trailer in, signed the slip, and walked away without a word. Took a week off after that. Didn't answer calls from dispatch. Didn't talk to friends. Just sat in my apartment, blinds drawn, trying to convince myself I was still here. Still real. The green name tag stayed on the kitchen counter for 2 days before I finally threw it in the trash. But that night, it was back on the counter again. Same position, perfectly aligned. Only this time, the letters were faded, not scratched. Worn out, like the thing had aged 30 years overnight. I drove to a lake outside of town and threw it in, as far as I could. It didn't come back after that, not the tag, but other things did. Weeks passed, and life resumed kind of. I took new routes, only daytime hauls. I made excuses not to drive near that part of the desert again. I avoided exits I didn't recognize. Hell, I even stopped listening to the CB, disconnected it entirely. I couldn't risk hearing that voice again, but the fear, it lingered. And not just fear - suspicion of reflections, of shadowed doorways, of anyone standing too still for too long. More than once, I passed gas stations that looked eerily similar. I even pulled over. Once, convinced it was the same one, somehow brought back to life in broad daylight. Pretending to be real again, but it wasn't, at least. I don't think it was. Still, I left. Every time, didn't stop, didn't look inside. Because if there's one thing I've learned since that night, it's this. Some places find you, not the other way around. One night, maybe 2 months later, I pulled into a rest area outside Flagstaff. Middle of the afternoon. Bright, hot, safe. I parked beside another trucker who had his hood up. He looked tired. Mid-50s, face like sandpaper. He glanced over at me while sipping from a thermos. "You ever get turned round out here?" he asked. I shrugged once or twice. He nodded slowly, like that meant more than I understood. Then he said, "You ever stop at that old gas station off 57, 2 pumps, guy in the green vest?" My stomach flipped. My mouth went dry. I didn't answer. He just looked at me for a long time, then nodded again. I saw him too, he whispered. Then he walked away. Didn't say anything else. Didn't ask questions. He didn't need to, because that's how it works. Everyone who's seen it knows you don't talk about it. Not in detail, not if you want it to stay gone. It's been almost a year now, and the nightmares haven't stopped. They're not always vivid. Sometimes it's just static, or the faint sound of gas pumps clicking in the distance. Sometimes I'll wake up thinking I smell something burning, like plastic and metal, like something inside the wall sockets is melting. One time, I caught my reflection in the sleeper window and it didn't move with me. just stared, smiling. I keep driving, I still take loads, but never at night, and never near that stretch of highway. Don't trust reflections anymore, or empty buildings, or the idea that just because it's daytime, it means I'm safe. Because some places, some things, they don't follow our rules. They don't need doors, or windows, or maps. They just find you, and if you're unlucky enough to stop at that gas station, if you see the attendant who never blinks, never moves quite right, don't talk, don't look too long, and whatever you do, don't turn around. A few weeks ago, I got curious. Stupid, I know, but something inside me needed closure. Needed to know that gas station wasn't still sitting out there like some kind of trap for the next poor soul who takes a wrong turn at night. So, I searched online, pulled up maps.forums.cb, archives.old dispatch boards. Nothing, no mention of a station off exit 57, no record of that pump location, no one named John working any station along that stretch in the last 20 years. It was like the place never existed, or worse, like it wasn't meant to be found again. And just when I thought I could put it all behind me, I got a letter. No return address, no stamps, just tucked into the mailbox at the yard. Inside was a single item, a faded name tag, green, smudged white letters. Not John this time, it said, your turn. And that's when I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit. It didn't follow me. I let it in that night, when I saw the attendant disappear. When I asked, are you okay? That was the moment. That was the invitation. It's not the station that's haunted. It's us, once you see it. Once you acknowledge it, you're part of it forever. So if you're driving out there, late at night, and you see a station with 2 green pumps, and there's a man behind the counter who doesn't blink, do yourself one favor. Don't ask questions. Don't get out of the truck. And whatever you do, don't ever say hello, because that's how it starts. That's how it finds you.